first look at the forecast. Here's weather specialist Noor Rafat.
Hey, thanks very much, Kevin. 2 questions for our viewers today. Did you go outside and did you regret it? Well, I think for many, if you're around a water body or inside the water, perhaps not a whole lot of regrets. But if you are not around something, well, cool to keep you company, it's dangerous out there with that humidity. Feeling closer to 45 degrees with the humidex in Toronto, 46 rather. And we are not alone. Winds are experiencing some similar conditions. We are really in the thick of this heat dome that has taken over large parts of Ontario into Quebec and even approaching the Maritimes. And those excessive heat warnings continue for day number 2, expanded all the way to the north and all the way through Quebec for humidex values up to 45 degrees through the course of next week until Tuesday. Little relief into the overnight with those temperatures at times being from 21 to 25 degrees Celsius. Now we know what high humidity can do. It can fuel serious storms, and we were talking about that just yesterday with the risk of tornadoes possible for associated with this system packing a lot of energy. And we saw what appears to be a suspected tornado. Again, no confirmation just yet, but this is according to some residents near the town of Mattawa. So flooding and downed trees reported on Highway 17 at Junction 630. That highway has been closed. Reports of some people trapped because of that highway closure, and we're seeing some serious damage near the Canadian Ecology Centre in the town of Mattawa, according to or because of this reported tornado. So no confirmation just yet from Environment Canada. Again, these are just reports, but do be mindful that there has been some damage associated with this system that pushed through yesterday. Today we were watching for some storms around Cottage Country. Doesn't look like they are going to materialize, and tomorrow we're not looking at much active weather in southern sections of the province. So expecting dry conditions, clear skies, lots of sunshine, but also lots of heat. Your high 37 in Toronto, feeling closer to 45. Kevin?
Thanks, Noor. Now to North York.
Well, I know many of us have been itching for summer, but this kind of heat this early in the season is not normal and is not the greatest when it comes to the risk for humans, but also the risk for active weather. Tomorrow in Toronto, not expecting active weather, but do expect some seriously dangerous kind of conditions when it comes to that humidex value. 45 is what it will feel like, a lot of sunshine. So for those especially that are working outside or spending a lot of time outside, this is going to be a time when you'll want to take breaks, stay in the shade for a little bit as long as you can. Of course, do be mindful of staying hydrated as well to protect yourself from heat exhaustion and potentially heat stroke. Here is that ridge in the jet stream, clear as day. We're seeing a lot of warm air pushing forth north to where it's usually not situated. And this is baking not just Ontario, but you can see parts of Quebec, large parts of northeastern and midwestern USA. And we're seeing that again, purple color into parts of New York State. Temperatures or humidex values into the 40s there. Again, heading into tomorrow. This is going to take its time before it clears out. And with that, of course, comes a risk of active weather with all of that humidity. We know thunderstorms, they love moisture, and they will feed some that humidity will feed some thunderstorms in the coming days, but more so towards northern Ontario and northern parts of Quebec. So you're seeing these push through, some of these touching around the Great Lakes region, maybe around Lake Huron. But as the week progresses, we can't rule out the risk of thunderstorms around southern Ontario and southwestern Ontario as well. So that could be as early as Tuesday. We were watching for some of our models that show thunderstorms could be possible around Tuesday, southwestern Ontario and the GTHA. That has since shifted, so it may be a dry and clear day there. But heading into Wednesday, some models show you could see some thunderstorm activity around southwestern Ontario. Again, western parts of the Golden Horseshoe, so that does affect the Toronto region, and then more reports of thunderstorms later on in the latter half of this upcoming week. So for now, expecting those flood-like rains to push through to the northern sections of the province, not towards southern Ontario. But as the week progresses, expecting more thunderstorm activity in Toronto, as I just mentioned. Again, it's supposed to be 37 in Toronto tomorrow, not 32. 27 in Fort Erie, 36 in Windsor, 36 for our friends in Milton, Hamilton, 25 for our viewers in Cobourg. It continues to be quite humid. Tuesday, feeling closer to 43. Wednesday, cloudy. Seems to be dry for now, but our models show Friday could be packed with some thunderstorms, at least for now, and we'll be mindful if anything changes heading into the next few days for potentially more active weather.
Thousands of are experiencing a major heat wave. Environment Canada says these conditions are expected to last for the next few days. That has officials making sure residents are prepared to handle it. Lexi Benedict reports.
Summer in Toronto is off to a sizzling start.
It's like a jungle out there. I mean, the heat, the humidity.
Environment Canada says temperatures are expected to surpass the 30s, with humidex values hitting the 40s.
We saw at noon Toronto had the warmest temperature in Canada. It was up to 32 degrees.
And while many may flock to the beaches and great outdoors to soak in all the sun.
It's so hot outside today, so we came out to Sugar Beach. I'm here visiting from Vancouver for the weekend.
Were you expecting it to be this hot?
No, it's so crazy.
Oh my gosh, it's so hot and humid.
Officials are warning that these conditions are dangerously hot.
You go out in that sun, and you can add another 6, 7, 8 degrees to the stress on the body. And that's why it's a real health risk for everybody.
Toronto residents trying to make it through the first heat wave of the year.
It's too hot. I did not expect this hot, but it was too hot.
It's almost too hot to hang out outside and play any sports. It's ridiculous.
Too hot to handle for some, but not all.
Me, actually, everybody afraid hot. It's cold. It's no. As you see, I no get any tent probably.
A long time we didn't get this vibe and this summer vibe, so we're very happy to be here.
Temperatures only expected to rise. Officials say Monday could be record-breaking.
And if it goes to 36, well, that would be the warmest in 10 years. So it really is significant.
So relief from this extreme heat isn't expected anytime soon, with these temperatures expected to last over the next few days. So residents, especially here in the city, are being encouraged to stay cool and hydrated as much as possible. Lexi Benedict, Global News.
Time now for our first look at the forecast. Here's weather specialist Noor Rafat.
Hey, thanks very much, Kevin. Well, today is what I would argue the real first day of an unforgivable heat wave that has been baking large parts of Ontario. Yes, we did see those temperatures begin to climb a few days ago, but humidex values yesterday were into the 30s. Today, into the mid-40s. So 35 felt closer to 46 in Toronto, similar to Windsor. Even the cooler spots around Ottawa feeling closer to 37 earlier today. So that is quite something. And you think that we have cooled down since then? Not a whole lot of movement. Those humidex values still into the 40s at this hour. It is quite something stepping outside and feeling no ability to gasp for air, as it's just quite stuffy. The heat warnings have expanded into large parts of Quebec up towards northern Ontario. The humidex values up to 45 through till Tuesday, but it's the overnight lows that will also be unforgiving because there's little relief associated with that heat wave heading into the overnight. This area of high pressure still parked where it is, and we're seeing some severe storms forming right on the outskirts of that ridge. Those severe storms, namely being one yesterday that we were looking for in anticipation for a potential of a tornado forming. And we don't have any confirmed information from Environment Canada, but reports of what looks like could be a tornado touching down in the community or near the community of Mattawa. So flooding down trees on Highway 17 reported at Junction 630. Reports of damage in areas like the Canadian Ecology Centre. Also reports of people trapped near that highway or on the other end of that highway because of its closures. Doesn't look like there will be any severe weather, if not any wet weather, for much of southern Ontario and eastern Ontario in the next 24 hours. But it is quite active up to the north. Upwards of 100 millimeters expected for large parts of Ontario in the next few hours. It's okay, though. We've got enough on our hands already. 37 degrees for our high tomorrow in Toronto, but with the humidex feeling closer to 45. Kevin?
Thanks, Noor. Protesters gathered at a...
Well, if you thought today was hot, enjoy tomorrow. Similar conditions expected in Toronto. 37 your high, feeling closer to 45, maybe even 46. But no, this is no laughing matter. I know it is hard to deal with these temperatures, and that's exactly what we want to remind people. The risk for heat stroke, heat exhaustion, of course, multiplied for pregnant individuals, for children, for elderly people, but the risk exists for everyone if you spend too much time in this heat. So do be taking breaks, do be drinking your water, and take care of yourself. ourselves and each other. The ridge and the jet stream allowing for all of that unforgivable heat to sit where it is. And it's not just an Ontario thing. This is touching Quebec especially, but also into the Maritimes with some of these higher temperatures. Relief in the forecast you can see for the prairies. That's good news for their wildfire season. But our models show as early as Thursday, we're going to see that above average heat return to large parts of the prairies and into northern parts of Canada as well. And that is a pattern that could continue until the end of the month. So cooler conditions over on this side of the country, at least closer to seasonal, and warmer conditions over towards the other side of the country. What about the active weather? Well, it's quite active into the next 24 hours in northern Ontario. Will continue to be the case heading into Tuesday. Not expecting much for southwestern, southern, and eastern Ontario for the next few days. So Monday, Tuesday, expecting dry conditions, sunny skies. Your first chance of seeing some thunderstorms appears to show up on Wednesday, especially starting with southwestern Ontario, but it does look like it will push around the GTHA into the afternoon hours and into the evening, and there is a risk of thunderstorms continuing also into late this upcoming week in Toronto. So 32, as I mentioned, tomorrow is actually a high of 37, not 32, but feeling closer to 46, 36 in Windsor, and for our friends in Hamilton, Milton, 36 degrees, 24 in Cobourg, 35 in Barrie, 31 for our viewers in Oshawa. Your next 7 days, yes, still hot. Tuesday, feeling closer to 43. Wednesday, your first sign of relief with some of these cooler temperatures, but then that risk of thunderstorms returns. Friday, 26 degrees, and managing to warm up yet again on Sunday, 28, a mix of sun and cloud.